Vroom, 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 vroom. Honk, honk. Get in, losers. We're going struggling. Vroom, 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 vroom. Hey guys, welcome to another ride in the struggle bus, where every wheel is an empty triangle. On today's bus ride, we are playing against another 12K on OGS, and let me tell you, this 12K really made me nervous this game. You're just gonna have to watch it. This was a tough game, very well played by our opponent. So definitely come take a look at it, and that's all I'm gonna say about this one. So, as per always, I'd like to thank our opponent for playing us today. I'd like to thank you guys for watching these videos, and I'd like to thank my Patreon subscribers for supporting the channel. So with that introduction out of the way, let's get into the game. Vroom, 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 vroom. Okay, here we go. We are playing against another 12K on OGS, and we'll be focusing probably more on the basics than the beyond the basics on this one, but we will see how it goes. So we are going to go for the corners and then the sides. We'll be balancing between third and fourth line stones, all of those good things. So our friend approaches us. Last time we kicked, we'll just slide back this time, but either would have been fine. We can pincer, we can do any of the normal variations, and it will all be okay. And so our friend slides back. That is fine. So we can kick here and revert back to that variation, or we can just do something over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to approach their bottom right corner just to split this up. I don't like it when they build big frameworks, and so I'll generally try to break that up a little bit. So our friend has attached to our stone. We are going to respond to this because we respond to attachments, but also this is the variation. But the reason this is the variation is because we need to respond to these attachments. Okay, so we get the kick and pincer. So this makes things a little more complicated. I was kind of hoping that this wouldn't necessarily happen, just because it makes the game a little more complicated. But either way, we are going to go and attach here, and we'll see how black responds to this. So our friend does play the Hane, and I don't think this is a variation that we have seen too much on our basic games. I'd be curious to see how our friend plays this, because this is a pretty long and involved variation. But it's a fun and interesting one, so we'll see how it goes. So our friend extends, and I'm curious if you guys know where we're supposed to play right here, because it's very much not an intuitive move, and unless you've seen this variation before, it's not something you would expect. So let me know if you guys know this one or not. We are just going to cut for reasons. We'll see how this plays out. So we're going to extend, and the reason we're doing this is we want to short black on liberties a little bit. These stones are going to die. These are dying stones, but with black extending here, now we get this Atari, and so black has to connect here, and now we can play here, which threatens to kill these two stones, and now we can play here, which threatens to kill these three stones. And now black captures. Isn't that such an easy variation? Why don't you guys know this one? Why doesn't this show up in all of our games? It's pretty interesting. And so with all that said, at the end we have a cut that we need to protect. So we are going to protect this cut. I'm sure that many of you are looking at this and going, there's no way that this is a Joseki. There's no way that this is any good for white. But we get some really good influence from this. This is, black does get a pretty sizable corner. But white gets some really good influence. So our friend follows this up with a kind of a strange move. If we were going to do anything over here, I'd expect to capture the stone. But we don't need to respond to this. Our group is plenty strong as is, so we can just leave this here. That's the nice thing about influence. So we've got this corner that we haven't enclosed yet, so I'm just going to go and play the 2-space extension. I've been liking this off of 3-4 stones, but you could have played E17, F17, E16, all of those are fine, or we could have approached this corner. So our friend now plays here, I guess looking to capture this stone, but this stone isn't important because black's already alive here. Connecting this stone isn't going to do anything to support the life of this group, and this group's already healthy, right? And it's too small. So if you guys remember the questions on, to figure out if we should be saving stones, question number 1, does the stone affect the life and death status of any nearby groups? Not really. Question 2, does it have any meaningful follow-ups? Nope, it's already surrounded. And question 3, is it simply worth enough points to save? Answer to that is also no. We should be playing away. So I'm going to go approach the other corner. And hopefully black will realize that they're spending too many moves to capture this one stone. But we'll see. We'll see if we get a response to this or not. Okay, so our friend answers with a pretty unorthodox move, but that is fine. So it's important when our opponents play moves that we aren't quite expecting, that the first thing we should look at is, does it change the value of the move that we were going to play anyway, which was probably going to be the slide at b4. Is this still a playable move? I think the answer is yes. And then we can look for other moves, because there is a cut here. So maybe we can play something like c4, but who knows really? What we do know is that it's hard to say that b4 is a bad move, right? We're not going to get in trouble with this. We know it's a good shape. So we're just going to play this and keep it simple. Was there potentially a better move? Yes. But we know that this is at least safe. It'll still give us the group that we were aiming to get, and it won't randomly get us in trouble. Okay, so black is looking to surround. I think that is fine. So if black had played c3, we would have played on the side, but black has played on the side, so we're going to go take the corner now. And so black looks to be taking the outside. We're going to be taking the corner. I'm going to extend one more time to give us a nice living group here. So we've got the corner, and black has taken the side. This was probably a little too early because black was already in a healthy position. So I don't think that this was needed, nor is it really sente. But, we are potentially getting surrounded, so we could look at an attachment here, a slide here. And you want to know what? We're going to keep it real simple, even though I don't think this move is needed. We'll play this just to make sure that we are 100% alive here, though we were already in good shape. But, sometimes you're not sure, and you just want to play that extra move. Of course, this then gives our opponent sente, right? So we do need to be careful in situations like that we aren't giving our opponents too many free moves. While all this is happening, this group is starting to get surrounded on a large scale, so we might have to do something with this group to make sure it doesn't get fully surrounded, because while it is influence, and it is nice and strong, it doesn't have a lot of eye space. So, not that it doesn't have a lot of eye space, but it doesn't really have any eyes yet, and if it gets surrounded, then we could potentially have some issues. So I don't think I'm going to cut this quite yet, but black has made a weak shape here. We can push and cut, and maybe that's the right timing to do this. But I was talking about strengthening this group, and I think that's what we're going to do. I want to strengthen this, maybe reduce what's going on over here, and I like these capping moves. This is a really good way to stop the growth of your opponent's potential, right? If there's a stone on a third line, especially if they're on the third line, you can play, the one space extension on top of them, and it stops the direction that stone would want to go to develop. Because we could see if this was an area that black was interested in developing, black could move in this direction and really build up some good potential here. But with us playing here, that stops that. Okay, and so black plays this. This is a little timid, right? This is really focusing on territory. And so I think it's a little early for that. But it does make black stronger. We do have to recognize that. And, these stones aren't really connected. There's potential for cuts. So I'm just going to play this stone just so we've got some good shape to stay connected. This gets us a little stronger. And black tanukis, I like this tanuki for what it is worth. I think this is a fine move. And I think it is going to elicit a response from us because black has gotten stronger here, so it's going to be tougher to attack this stone. So I'm just going to go and secure the corner. I'm going to play this. And you might be saying, hey, You're playing a lot of early second line moves, but this is a big one. It's also worth noting it's also a fourth line move if we look it up off of the top side. But it really helps secure this corner. Okay, so now our friend is playing here, looking to build up this a little bit, maybe, go after this. But this is a really weak shape, and we are really strong here. And while I didn't take this cut over here, when we have influence and thickness like this, fights are exactly what we want. So I think we are going to take this cut here because we do have to use the stones the way they are intended. So again, while a move like this may have been a little slow and, there's a cut here we can go after, that it really isn't the intent of what these stones were there for, right? If I'm playing a second line move, I care about the territory. But here, with all this influence, we absolutely care about the fight. So here, we might, maybe we'll get in trouble with this, but it'll be fun. So here we've got this one stone, and you want to know what? Now that my my bloodlust has cooled down a little bit, and I've actually looked at what this looks like, I don't like this fight for us. I actually don't think it looks good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run this group out, because the reason this fight doesn't look good is that black can just run very, very, very easily. This group is as strong as it gets, so we're certainly not going to attack that. So the only stones we could potentially fight and attack are these two stones, but they're stronger than we are. So really we can't do anything with this quite yet. So this was me getting a little ahead of myself. It's like, I see a cut, I'm gonna cut it. So black plays over here, which is a fine move. We do have to acknowledge how thin this shape is, and so you need to be really careful if you do play this extension. Anytime stones show up over here, there's some really good follow-ups. So I'm just going to play here to strengthen this corner. Black should not have fallen backwards. I think black should have probably jumped out. So what do we want to do here? Is this move Sente? I do not think this move is Sente. So where's the big potential on the board? I think the big potential on the board is the top, right? I don't see any groups that we could go after. This cut is less strong now that these stones are here, but I think something up top is probably pretty good. I'm going to play here, balance our third and fourth line stones. Since we've got two fourth line stones here, I'm going to play a third line stone just to help balance things out. Treating these as two separate groups, right? So you'll notice that each one has two fourth line stones and a third line stone. That's a good, efficient way of trying to block off territory. Neither one of these are pure territory yet. Again, we're all just, everything is just potential right now, except probably down here. This is points. This corner is definitely points. This corner is definitely points. But everything up here on the left, it's all potential. Okay, so now black is looking at potential cuts. I'm not sure we need to respond to this, because if black cuts, we can just net with this. But it's possible that there's some cut here that I'm missing. For the sake of just protecting cuts, we will play here to help link up our stones. There certainly could have been something there, and in my explanations, I ran out a little bit of time for that move, and that is fine. But we do want to protect this cut. White or black does need to be careful, because now with this stone here, if we get another stone around here, I absolutely will start this fight again. And it might even be worth starting now, because we are much stronger. So black does need to be a little careful. Black should probably play something like O10 right now just to finish this stone off. Black's going to play that. I'm just going to connect directly. I think that is probably the cleanest way to do this. Okay, and then black plays on this side. So this is playing a little too close to strength. This cut isn't going to work because we've got some pretty good shape here. So what am I going to do here? I think we'll just keep it real simple. Play L3, try to get some eye space here, maybe even get logo life, and then we can also look at moving out. Because again, as we move up and get stronger, this is going to be a more dangerous move. Okay, looks like black might be interested in cutting us. We'll see how that goes. I don't think it's going to go well for black if black is looking to cut. Okay, so this is looking to surround this stone. But you want to know what? Let's play a fun little move. We will play this, which threatens to connect, and turns on this ladder. Okay, so black wants no part of that for good reason, so we will capture. So now our group is nice and strong. This isn't an eye yet, but it can be at any point in time. And then we've got some eye space down here. We have lots of options. Let's go take this Atari just to get a little more strength so that we can run out if needed. But this group looks nice and healthy now. So is this sensei? No. So where are the big points on the board? Big points on the board still look to be up here. So what are we going to do about that? I think probably just playing something like this to stunt this group from growing while also building our corner is probably good. I didn't want to just play a random fourth line move here, which is why I didn't play L16 or M16. I'm sure many of you were looking at that and go, that's probably where I'd play. But it really doesn't get us too many points, so it's not that big of a deal. This gets us a little bit more with the corner, just looked a little bigger to me. So let's take a look at this board state. Our friend's playing very well. I'm quite impressed with how they are handling this game, because they're just doing well. They're really making me think about where I need to play to actually get something going. So here black extends. I am just going to extend again, because otherwise there's the push at C15, which threatens to capture this and then gives an Atari to push in. So we're just doing this, and this gets us a really big corner. It's early in the game to be going for points. This is a little early for this. But this exchange, black really isn't getting much out of this, and I wanted to make sure that our group stayed nice and strong. But those are just all excuses. This wasn't a very strong move. So now black plays here, looking to turn this into points. And so is this sensei? No. So where are the big points on the board? Kind of here, but I still think up top. So I think I'm going to play a move like this to see if black lets us get either points here or points here. We're not going to get both, but we can get one or the other. This stops black from continuing to grow this group, though I could play a move, probably something like G11 or H11 to reduce this. We still have a monkey jump here, so this isn't going to be a ton of points. We also have the turn at E14. We have some options for reducing this territory. And this top is becoming very large. This top is becoming large enough to potentially win the game by itself. Okay, so our friend plays here, but I don't think this does anything. I really don't. So I'm just going to play here and continue to extend our top, because that's what we were doing. We're saying up here is the potential. And once this potential kind of gets turned into points, right, or gets reduced, then we can turn our attention over here. Okay, so our friend has attached to this stone. We know he responds to attachments, and we either want to look at the Hane or the extension. In this case, I am more than happy to just extend and stay strong, and the reason for that is these are fifth line stones. Fifth line stones get a lot of territory, and so I'm happy. I feel like I'm getting enough by doing this, and we don't need to be looking to get more by playing the Hane, because it introduces cuts and weaknesses. So in this situation, I feel that staying strong with the extension is probably the correct thing to do here. Okay, and so black plays here, looking to grow this, and that makes a bunch of sense. So what do we want to do? I think we should start with this turn, forces black to play here. And I wonder if we can break into the side here. Let's just play this. This is very light. I probably could have played h10, but I think this was okay enough. So now we're almost already in endgame, and if that's the case, I think we should be looking for big endgame moves. And is there truly any larger endgame move than our favorite friend, the monkey jump, where we just get to throw our stone in there, watch it ooze across their board? So let's see how black responds to this. If you're never sure how to answer the monkey jump, the first move you should consider is playing directly on top of the stone. That isn't always the answer, but it usually is. Okay, our friend took a little bit to play that, so maybe they are not familiar with the monkey jump. I am going to keep on pushing, though, because as long as you maintain those 3 liberties, you will be able to connect back. So let's see how our friend handles this now. Okay, we're going to Hane on the first line to stay connected. And we are going to Atari. And we have a cut here that we're eventually going to need to protect this cut. So let's just protect it right now to make sure there are no shenanigans, because black could cut and take the Atari, and then take this Atari, and then capture this stone with an Atari, right? Because before we played this, we had a cut here and here. So black, if we had played away, let's say we just played this, black could Atari and Atari and Atari, and this looks terrible. Looks terrible. So okay, so black plays here. We can keep on pushing. We can just keep on going. This is what can happen with monkey jumps if you don't know how to answer them.
You can try all you want to cut that stone, but it's not going to happen. And even worse than that, if you answer this move incorrectly, that monkey banana is just going to keep on spreading all over the place. Ew, gross.
Okay, so we do have to connect here because there is some sneaky. Black might not see it, but if black plays T14, the stones end up dying. So let's just connect here. And we can see that this has really, really reduced this area to not too many points. Of course, this was not the best response. We can go over how that should have been responded to when we get into the review, assuming I remember. I said at last game, I was like, oh, I'll show this in the review. And then what did I do? I never even made it that far in the review. I was like, oh, guys, we're done. So maybe this time, though. Maybe this time we'll actually do it. Okay, so it looks like black is looking to cut this. We're just going to do a bamboo joint. That will keep us connected. And what now? Need to be a little mindful of the fact that we aren't necessarily 100% alive yet. I think we are, though. I think we are. But I think we can just play this and capture the K3 stone. So I think we are fine there. Let's just go get the stone. That's what we'll do. Okay, we will descend. And we'll just play here. This is fine. So now we're definitely alive. Like as alive as it gets. Okay, so what's another big endgame move? There really isn't too much big stuff here. Except I just realized S7 quite big. This is a big move. This is a big move, especially with this cut here. Black needs to be a little careful. I think he's still fine. But with losing this liberty, things get a little trickier for black. And it saved our stone. Earlier it was not worth saving the stone. But now if you ask the questions, does it affect the life and death status of any other groups? No. Does it have any follow-ups? It does. It does have a follow-up. T8 is a nice follow-up. And then is it worth enough points to save? It actually is at this point in the game. So that is why it's worth saving. Okay, black plays here. Going to extend just to maximize our points here. This comes in Sente, kind of, because black can't let us get C9. Because then either they lose the stone or we get to ooze into their territory. And then I will go and play here, which again threatens to get in there. And I think I'm going to play the Hane here because it is reverse Sente. If black plays here, then it's Sente. And so let's just play this, get this out of the way, and connect and see where black plays. There are some cuts here. There's an Atari here, so there's potential for some things. I think black is okay as is now, but potentially later for co-threats we could consider that. Okay, so then black goes and takes this Sente move, perfectly fine. We will block, play here. Okay, black goes here. I think this is a perfectly fine move. We will block, and we're just going to, I think, transition into securing our wall here. Black's going to also be securing their wall for this territory and this territory, but this top is quite big, and I think will probably be enough to win by itself. Okay, black plays here. We will just connect, and I think that is a fine move too. We will play here. Nice little shape move. Black can push in and push, but this will effectively block this stone, but a fine reduction move. So let's see if we can finish this one out, because the end game implications here are pretty good. There's a lot of potential on this board for end game plays. Okay, so black plays here. I'm not too concerned about that. Let's take a look at this move. And what else can we look at? We can look at this Hane, because black will have a liberty shortage here. So black can play here, but would have to fix, and so black just fixed immediately. Donnie, our friend's playing really well here, guys. Let's play here to threaten to go in, and then it also gives us this Atari, which is really nice. What a sharp move! What a sharp move by our friend here. Again, I'm quite impressed with their play. Okay, so we'll play here, and we can push in here. I don't know if this necessarily does anything. Does not look to do too much, truth be told. Let's just play here and block this wall off. Okay, and black plays here. There's a double Atari here, so we'll have to fix this cut somehow. The question is, can we fix it this way? And I don't think so. I think we're gonna have to fix this later anyway. So let's just fix this here. That way there's no Atari and descend later. Because there could be a liberty shortage if black throws in at T16. So just need to be a little careful there. Okay, fine move. We will play this and threaten the Atari. And what else do we have? What else do we have? I think we can play this. This is not Sente, but it is reverse Sente. Black did not need this because this wall was so close. Let's play, and now we can play here. Well, let's push in one. It's going to end in Gote no matter what. But that is what we are looking at for endgame. So again, for endgame moves, we want to be looking for Sente moves and then large Gote moves. And I don't really see many Sente moves for us. There are plenty for our opponent, including this one. And so now it is their turn to get all of these Sente moves. Okay, that blocks off this. I think that is perfectly fine. I'm going to connect here, Atari this stone, and then I think I'm going to block here. I think that's probably the best place to play. I've changed my mind. I'm going to play here. It has some good follow-ups because of the Atari here and the cut here. So I just wanted to play this. I'm not sure if there's anything quite yet. But I think now I can play R13, which is kind of sneaky. No, I can't play it yet. Not until I connect. Not until I connect, because if black blocks, I wanted to play here. But that would be a self-Atari. Self-Ataris are bad. We don't like playing them. Black looks to push in. I look to block. Here we will just connect. Save these 3 stones. And we're going to connect here as well. I think just a solid connection is probably the way to go. And so that is what we are going to do. But black is doing a fantastic job playing strong endgame. He has played strong throughout this game. Again, I am quite impressed with the level of play from our friend here. Okay, good move. It was something that was needed. I'm going to play this. Threaten to kill those 2 stones. And then we connect. I think that got us probably 2 points. Not many, but it's going to be a close game, so we're going to need all the points we can get. Okay, we will block this. And yeah, we'll play this one out to the nitty-gritty end. You guys have said many times, Gabe, we want to see more endgame. So let's give you the endgame. There's not too many more moves at this point in time. Anyway, looking to break the bamboo joint, we're going to connect. And now, does this do anything? I'm unsure. I'm trying to turn this into a point. So let's play here. Looks to, it doesn't really threaten anything. It really doesn't. But, okay, we'll play here at least, because that will turn this into a point if nothing else. And so, yeah, at this point, we really only have like 1 point moves left. Something like L11, J11, P7, end of list. J5, there's really not much on this board. Really not much on this board. Yep, that was one. So let's go this way. Threaten to push in there. We can go this way. Threaten to push in there. And now we'll just connect here. All 1 point moves, but at least they were kind of sente. I am going to save this stone. And what else do we have on this board? Yep, that forces us to connect. And that's pretty much it. I think that's it. I think the rest is just dame. So, very, very well played. Very well played by our friend. So let's see if they pass. If they do, I will as well, because I do believe that this game is over. And we'll take a look. Woo! What a strong game. We win by Comey. We win by Comey. So yeah, just a super strong game from our friend here. Looking at the AI graph, this was a pretty close game through and through. Our friend made it pretty far into the opening before I got any kind of lead. I ended up losing that lead, and it was dead even again in the middle game. And then we kind of, maintained like an 8-point buffer, but that really isn't a lot for these games. Also, I'm not sure if I was looking for it, I may have found it, but let's back it up one move. So here's your question for the game. AI says there's something on this board that we shouldn't be passing here. And with that hint, you can probably figure it out, because it's I think it's a little obvious with knowing there's something there. But anyway, let me know in the comments if you see what what could be done here. One of the players, not telling you which one, but one of us has a fun little thing that they can do here. So anyway, let's get into the review of this game. Okay, here we are, and as per always, we're going to be taking a look at this from the perspective of our opponents. And so, yeah, everything looks really good here. I was surprised to see this, and then I was surprised to see them handle this so well. It's possible that they are stronger than 12K, and they're just, putting me on. But it's tough to say. But yeah, black playing this way is quite interesting. This is not a variation we really ever see in these games, and one that I wouldn't expect a 12K player to handle as well. But then we get to this move. This move was definitely off and was an indication that at first I was like, oh, am I playing against somebody who's considerably stronger? But then this move was probably the first indication that that isn't the case. So here, the question is this Sente for black? And it really isn't, or Sente for white rather. So black can choose to play away, can choose to Tanuki. If black is worried about the strength of this group, I would probably just attach and do this variation. This would probably happen, would be my guess. And black is settled now and is, everything's fine. And then, white gets Sente here, but that's not a bad deal. This one's just a little off, and it let us play away and then let us play away again. Honestly, for how close this game was, this is probably it, right? This is where I took the lead because I got these 2 free moves, and white's AI says white's up by about 10 points here, and I was never really up by more than that this game. And so this may have been the difference. It's just these 2 slow moves. And then this one's a little unorthodox. Here we would, consider one of the 3 main options, right? We can kick, we can come back to either of those, or we can pincer. Which one of these is best here? I don't know. It's possible that kicking and then pincering again would have been good, or maybe just kick and extend. Lots of options. This one's just a little off, so we were able to slide, and then take the corner, extend, and then played here. If I knew how close this game was going to be, I wouldn't have played this move, but I wanted to give my opponent an opportunity to, I wanted to see what they would do with Sente. And we played this. This one's low off, right? Because we could have immediately taken this cut. And I don't think this is a fight that black wants, because white has some amount of control on the top side of the board because of these 2 stones. So here, if black was interested in containing white, black could do this, because white isn't going to want to do this. This is much too painful. But I think black taking Sente here is reasonable, though C9 is not a tiny move. It is, this, I wouldn't fault our friend for playing this. This one just seems a little off, but they are very similar moves. So maybe it's fine. So then we play here, and this one was a little too passive. This is black saying that they really care about the points here, and it's probably a little early for that. Though honestly, black can't let us get this move. So I think probably though I would play this, because I don't think this is going to work out for white for the same reason that this cut wouldn't work out for black, because black has some strength here. And so even if white does this, I don't think that, black would probably play this way. This doesn't look like a winning fight for white. So I don't think white could play this way. I think white would probably do this and, maybe extend. And black is getting some pretty good, some pretty good points here, though white's getting some good strength. So again, I'm criticizing this a little bit, but it seems reasonable. I played here, and then black Tanuki, fantastic Tanuki. Such a great move. And then I think this one was fine as well. I think this is a little small. There's a lot of potential on the top side of the board. So I would probably be looking at, doing something here, one of the attachments, or just keeping it real simple and playing something like H17. This is going to close this off, separate the 2 groups. There's still a lot of Aji in here, so white might do something like this, and now black can get a base. There are options here. I think this was a little small. And then I got greedy, guys. It happens. It happens to the best of us. As I see a cut, I'm going to take it. But he called us out, and he did a really good job of it. And then, I don't think this is something I wanted. I had no interest in this fight. I just realized too late. So we got some strength. And then black played here. Seems like a perfectly fine move. Coming back, I don't like this. And the reason I don't like this is there are so few points to be had here. you know, at best, black's going to be able to get with these 6 points maybe. But we have this stone, so we'll be able to monkey jump. We have this Hane. We can reduce from here. So there's so little potential there that, you know, maybe just a move like this and, you know, something like this to stunt white's potential. Black can maybe even play here first, force this, then look at something like this. I think moving out in the center would have been better. Or, you know, just doing this, right? And then maybe playing here. But I do think this could just also just be ignored, and we could play something like h17. So I think that was a little slow, gave us a big move there. This all seems reasonable. This seems reasonable as well. I think black thought there was something here, but played away very quickly. Not, you know, he didn't play the move quickly, but, you know, just realized like, okay, maybe this isn't going to work, and played a nice move here that does help facilitate this cut, right? If white ignores now, let's just say we descend. Now, this cut comes with a little more teeth because there isn't a weakness over here. So I liked this move as well. And then we played here to connect up while also turning this ladder on. Black acknowledged that and forced us to capture. Black's playing great here. Just black is really playing well. Here, I think black can ignore this as well. These stones are still connected. Again, there's just so few points here. I think black needs to do something up here. Maybe the shoulder hit, maybe the, you know, one of the attachments, or just jumping in. As black, I would be looking to reduce that. Maybe something like this is appropriate, and then black could do something like this to really grow some potential here. That is an option as well. But black pushed, we pushed, and black played here. Fine move. And then we just kind of got in a battle of who can grow their territory more. And it was close. You know, even here it was really close. So I remembered, guys. I remembered. I was like, hey, I'll show you how to handle this one. So again, I mentioned that the answer is usually just to play here, and white needs to come back now, and then this does work. And the reason this works is if white plays here, we get this Atari. White captures. We get this Atari. White connects. Black connects. White does not have enough room for life. So this group's going to die, even though white got a capture. So white needs to pull back. Black can play here. White will usually play here. And now black can Atari. And then black connects. This is usually how monkey jumps get handled. Not always, but often. And this would have been fine. But our friends messed up a little bit. And let's just get a little bit more than we should have. But did it in a way where black retains Sente. So it may have been worth it. And then we just basically transitioned to endgame. But man, this was a close game. Our friend played really, really well. So we went over some things. Hopefully you learned a thing or two. I may have learned a thing or two. This was a really interesting game. So anyway, that's where we're going to leave this one today. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Anyway, thank you guys for coming out for another ride in the Struggle Bus where every wheel's an empty triangle. Have a good one, guys.